Hey everybody, this is Blue. Well, I have reached kind of a crossroads in my beliefs, my spirituality. I have been following a Celtic path for probably about 15 years now. I have considered myself to be at one time a druid, and I do right now classify myself as a Celtic Reconstructionist, which means I try to follow a path that is as close to Celtic historical beliefs as possible, which is in many ways an impossibility because a lot of Celtic beliefs and all that have been destroyed and lost. There are Celtic gods and goddesses that have like one temple and just a couple lines dedicated to him or her, and that's it. And it is so hard to build a belief system on that. Not impossible, but difficult. What you see behind me is my Ancestry.com ancestry map. It kind of tells you what I am, basically. And when you add it all up, according to this, I have a 60% Celtic heritage and a 40% Germanic heritage. And I followed the Celtic beliefs because it was my heritage. Growing up, I was told that I was Scotch Irish English. But I knew that I had German in me because my grandma was German. But there was reasons why I was given my name is because my dad told me that there was resentment towards German people in some parts of where I grew up. And so he wanted to make sure that I had a good Scotch Irish name. And so that's why I was told I was always Scotch Irish when I grew up. But anyway, I am wanting to have a heritage, my beliefs follow my heritage, my ancestry. Now, I have been slowly incorporating Norse concepts into my belief system because when I come up to those gaps in the Celtic beliefs, I try to find something closely related to fill in the gaps to make sense of it all. And I always borrowed from Norse beliefs. Well, I have been debating on doing more. Um, because it is so hard to know about some of these Celtic gods and goddesses, I have been debating on incorporating Norse gods and goddesses into my belief system, which creates a whole new can of worms to work out. Because I have been strictly Celtic, I have never dealt with combining realms before, and now I am. The slight advantage that I have is that while the Norse pantheon is well defined, the Celtic pantheons are not. So it would be a little bit easier to incorporate them together, but still I'm trying to figure out a way to do it and make it make sense and balanced in that. The other problem that I have is that I currently honor 16 Celtic gods and goddesses. But like I said, there are a few like Dwayne who we know just like two lines of reference. And so it's kind of like, man, I want to still honor all of these gods and goddesses. But if I start to incorporate the Norse pantheon, I want to do it in a balanced manner. Me. Which would mean that I would want to incorporate 16 Norse gods and goddesses into my pantheon, which would mean that I'd have a total of 32 to honor. And that is kind of overwhelming. And so I'm trying to figure out how in the heck am I going to do this, because you got to make your your spiritual beliefs, make them where you can do them, because if you make some outlandish claims or so overwhelming, you are going to fail. I don't want to fail here. So there's obvious, for the Celts, for the Norse, Odin would have to be included, probably Loki. Hell would be included, because like for the Celts, there really is no god associated with death. There is the underworld's god, but that's about it. Most Celts believe in Tir na Nog, the Summerlands, and we just leave it kind of like that. But the concept of Helheim, if I'm pronouncing it right, would make things a lot more interesting. Would add some detail, because with the Summerlands, everybody dies and goes to Summerlands. There is no argument on if you're honorable or not. All life goes to the Summerlands. Whereas with Helheim, if you were unworthy, did not die like a warrior, that's where some went. Interesting. And so that's some of the things I have to work out. So this video is to ask for some advice on those of you that have combined different cultures together. How do you do it? Was there any major issues that you had when you did it? Because the thing that I kind of am struggling with is I put too much personification into the deities, because I believe if you're wanting to work with them, you got to develop a type of relationship, understanding, knowing them. And I just can't picture like having Kronos being under Odin. So how do I work out two very strong personalities from different cultures being under the same roof? Okay. The other interesting aspect is like the Sabbaths. Now, each culture celebrated different Sabbaths, because like for the end of the year, for the Celts it was Samhain. Okay, and so, and many people believe that the end of the year was Samhain. And that's what I've been following, But then when you incorporate the Norse, they don't do Samhain. They have Yule as their end of the year. So how do I incorporate that? And if I incorporate too much, I'm going to look like a darn eclectic Wiccan. And there's going to be so many things that need to be explained and worked out that I haven't yet. So I would love to hear everybody's advice, opinions on this, because I want my beliefs, my spirituality to reflect my heritage. So I want to embrace both Celtic and Norse ideals, philosophies in my life. So please let me know what you think, and everybody please take care. Be at peace.